Hey Pottery peeps, I am back. Well, sort of. Back with restrictions, let's put it that way. But at least I'm in the studio. For those of you who don't know me, I feel like I've been gone for so long and the students have been amazing with picking up some of the slack. Mickey has rocked the kiln openings, that kid. Yeah, she's very animated, very funny, and just a joy. I'm very, very lucky to be her mother. And all my kids. I have 4 kids, incredibly stubborn, independent, very hardworking, all 4 of them, very talented, all 4 of them, and sweet and compassionate with just enough sour to make them interesting. You know what I mean? That's how I used to describe my kids when they were little. And it's even more apparent as they're older. They are all 4 quite the characters and I love them to pieces. But I'm very, very grateful for everyone who stepped up and helped me navigate this unfortunate, unnecessary accident. I was rear-ended at the end of March and it has caused, I have really, really good bones. And my collarbone is still out. It gets to stay out the rest of my life, but because my collarbone didn't break, it tore up my shoulder. And so that's what I'm dealing with the most now. They had to reattach my bicep. It's sewn in and anchored into the bone under here, which has been quite painful, but it's not a knee replacement. You know, I'll take one of these any day over a knee replacement. So my physical therapist, I tell you, I know I'm a trial. And we have a pretty good relationship over, 3 knee replacements and now this over the last two and a half years. He kind of has my number. If you are in the Utah County area and you need the most excellent physical therapist I've ever worked with, and I've worked with many because I tend to play as hard as I work hard, play hard, get rebuilt, seems to be the mantra. Anyway, peak physical therapy in Spanish Fork, the best. Ask for Ed. The best I've ever worked with. Best medical professional I've ever worked with. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He has actually been right on point way before the doctors when this knee needed to be replaced. He was saying, yeah, you need to replace it. Oh, good 4 or 5 months before the doctor brought it up. Anyway, he's the first person I went to after this accident. What do I do? Who do I see? And he has not steered me wrong. He's just been amazing. So major shout out to Peak Physical Therapy. You know anybody in this area that needs to see a physical therapist, go see them. Don't waste your time with anybody else. All right, so I can't remember. Did I introduce myself? I'm Tiffany Homer, Hobble Creek Pottery. If not, I'll cut that out. It's been a while since I've been in front of the camera. Been a while since I've been in the studio. So I have a weight limit of 5 pounds. I found out that I was actually doing too much when I was glazing. I have to be really careful with this bicep because if I tear this bicep or it snaps in the healing, which happens when people do what I do and do the things they're not supposed to do, like holding pottery while you're glazing and it's too heavy. I found out that anytime you have your hand in this position, it's called the soup bowl position, holding a soup bowl, it engages the bicep. In this situation, or like here, you're not really engaging the bicep, but the minute you do this, you are. So if I tear that bicep, and he won't even start working on it until I'm 8 weeks out, and I'm 6 weeks out right now. I just lost the brace, hallelujah. At least that thing's gone. If it was made out of actual natural fabric, I'd burn it, but I don't know what that is made out of, but whatever it is hot and itchy. But if I snap that bicep by doing too much too early, it literally snaps down to your elbow, and then they get to go in fishing with a hook, trying to grab it, and doing that much damage to your bicep, it probably won't be as strong as you need it to be. So I was scared straight, been good-ish, but trying to work with my limitations. So they gave me a 5 pound weight limit, no throwing. I even tried to talk him into letting me throw a 1-pound bowl, and that was a no-go. In fact, he looks at me and says, whatever you're going to ask, the answer's no. I'm one of those patients, but I'm doing really well. I'm just really frustrated and want to get back to my life. And anyway, enough about that. I decided I need to do things to work with my limitations. I'm not the only one out there that has limitations. All of us have, well, maybe not all of us. You beautiful 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds like my daughter. Well, does she have limitations? Not really. But you know, when you're young and physical, but then there's young, oh, I'm going to cut this out too. All right, all of us deal with limitations of some kind. And I have been trying to work around mine or work with my limitations so at least I can get into the studio. And that's what I tried to do with making this tree trunk mushroom mug. Isn't it cute? I am so tickled with this. I have been filling up my sketchbook, you guys. It's wonky. And I figured since I don't have full use of this, making something wonky is probably right up my alley, right? So, because I only have real use of this. Actually, I shouldn't be holding it. Anyway, well, it's not 5 pounds, so I should, it should be okay. I'm all over the place, you guys, but at least my brain is working. It's starting to snap fire, or, well, it's back to normal, which whatever normal is. But after the accident, I was pretty worried, and I couldn't remember anything or string words together. That was quite scary. I had never had a concussion that severe before. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get down to this. So the nice thing about these tree trunk mugs, I think they would be super cute as Fairyhouse mugs too, which, yes, I plan to do that also. And it's 102 today. I'm already sweating. I have the AC on in here, and I tried filming with the AC. It's just too loud. Small enclosed space, it's just too loud. So, it is almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Should have been out here earlier, but you know, life happens. So we'll see how far we get before I have to cover everything up and go into the AC where it's cooler. So I made, this is 4 inches by 12. Hold on a second. It's 4 inches by 12, but I cut out a wavy line, or, you know, I wanted it to be as organic as possible. But that's on the outside of the 4 inches, okay? And that is your tree stump, you know, where the roots would go into the ground. I kind of like that it's lifted. I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, so 4 inches by 12 on the craft foam is what I drew out. This is my favorite wood texture. And I don't know if it's available. If it's available and I can find a link, I will put it in the description. But it's actually one of the vinyl things made by Mayco. There is another one that I have that I bought off of Amazon. It's for making cakes, and it's long and it's pink. But this one is so much more realistic to where the other one looks more cartoonish. And so I always go for this one. So I'm going to lower you down, and we're going to get started on one of these mugs. And hopefully it doesn't take us all day. Hopefully I can move through this. I don't move as quickly as I used to right now because I have to always take this into consideration. And not just slap things and pick up things and grab things, you know. Anyway, let's go ahead and lower you down, and let's get making this mug. All right, so on this mug, if you watched the video that I uploaded on Friday of the kiln opening, I was really concerned, and I had talked to Mickey about it, that it was too heavy. And I think one of the reasons why I thought that when I made it was because working one-handed, and this other hand being compromised, or other arm, it did feel heavy, but after the firing, it doesn't feel that bad. But this one was rolled out at a 3/8, and then I rolled the texture in. But this clay is rolled out to, it's a tick below 3/8 on the slab roller, or a tick above 1/4 of an inch. All right, so what I do when I am using this texture, I like to roll with a pulling roller. You could roll with a rolling pin, but I usually start in the center and work my way out. And if you watch any of the fairy houses or anything that I've done, I use this quite a bit. Then I peel that off and then I flip it. So it was this direction, I flip it this direction. And I kind of don't want it to be lined up. You know, I don't want a line. So we'll just roll that out. And I'm not rolling really heavy on this side because I don't want this line to be pressed in. I'm going to pick it up though. Yeah. And so I could get more of the continuous tree trunky look. It works in my head. All right. And I am going to go ahead and with these ones, I just put my stamp in there. Oh, and I'm also working on B-Mix with speckles. And this one is by Laguna. I think in one of the kiln openings, we thought it was Aardvark, but it's Laguna that has come out with the B-Mix. And I did put my stamp in there. I didn't do the wood grain. The ones I made the other day, I went ahead and did the wood grain. So I'm just going to go ahead and, this is for the bottom. There we go. Isn't that pretty? All right, so we're gonna lift it up. And this is where I have problems. And then what's kind of cool is I have enough for 2. Because what I'll do is I'm just going to do that. Well, maybe I don't have enough for 2. Oh well. We'll just go ahead and get the first one going. I don't like getting these, you do have to go up and down because wood grain's up and down. I don't like getting it too close to the edge that I've rolled because that always seems to be thinner. Where's my knife? And then I'm just going to cut straight across. Then I'm going to cut this at a 45. Bring my knife over here at that same 45. Don't move your pattern. And I got some tricks because you can't tell on this mug where the seam is. It's not that, I mean, it's just fun. Now, I'm just going to cut this straight across. You could cut this at a 45 too, but I'm just going to cut it straight across. And I'm not too particular about how I'm cutting that. I'm just, I'm close, but not close enough. So I'm going to put this under plastic. I'm going to come back in here, and you've been watching for a while. You've seen me do this. This is just a leftover piece of sheet that I cut up. And I am going to soften that edge because this is the drinking edge. We want that soft. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. So we've got that all nice and done and soft. We will address it again. A lot of you who have been in this for a while have seen mugs being made. But those of you that are new, welcome. And this is a great mug to get started on because guess what? It looks better if it's not round. The more wonky you make it, the better it looks. So I'm just going to score and slip my sides. And I got this nifty tool, and if I can get the link, my husband found it, and if I can get the link of where he got it, I will put it in the description. So I'm just going to lay this here and bring this guy up. And my mug is wider. Oh, I need to give you a tip. Hold on a second. Actually, I wonder if I can, I'm gonna see if I can't. When you are drawing, ouch, that's not gonna work. Hold on. Okay, when you're drawing your pattern and you're putting in your root system or your stump, tree stump, make sure that they match up so that your pattern, you know, isn't like this to where you have the wide part like right there at the seam. You want those to be straight there, okay? Tip. I had to redraw my pattern, which is how I know that. All right, let me see if I can pick this up and move it. Well, I don't know if I can. Nope, that's not gonna work. So this clay did not stiffen up. I'm letting it, it's right out of the bag, which is technically my preferred way to do stuff. I'm not very patient. Case in point, recovering from this stupid accident has actually been, I think it's been more frustrating than the knee surgeries because it never should have happened. Well, actually, the replacement of the knee replacement never should have happened either. So now that I've got it in here, it's just been a frustrating last 2.5 years. Wait till next year, you guys. I'm gonna blow it out of the water. So I am going to roll this seam against this form. Okay. Then I am going to take this and roll my texture back in. Ta-da! And you cannot tell that that is where the seam is. Let me get this to release. I'm gonna take that out. We're gonna put it upside down and you can see where the seam is. It actually does a really good job with that seam too, but it doesn't completely flatten it. So I will come in here, I dip it in water, and I'm just gonna smooth it. And then I'm gonna come out here, I want a tree stump. So I am going to push this out. Okay. And if you'll notice, I got 3 points. And I tried to keep the 3 points somewhat the same height. They don't have to be. That will help. If you fill your cup to the brim, it'll help keep it from overflowing. But I mean, come on. Here's my iced coffee. I usually fill it up about 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch from the brim. Because I will trip and spill. But I don't want it, I mean, you can make it as wonky or as high as you want it, but I do kind of want the rim to be somewhat level. So I am going to push this out. I'm going to come in with my rib, serrated rib. I just dipped it in water. You can dip it in slippy water. I got slippy water here. You can do that too. You can do the vinegar. You can do the magic water. I don't think it, if you're working with the clay at the right time, water's just fine. I don't have any issues. So I've flipped it up like that. Okay. So let's grab. I'm going to move this aside. Now I don't need my bottom to be quite this thick. I mean, it's, so what I usually do, since it's got the design, I'm just going to toss it one direction. And by doing this and slapping it down, it's going to stretch it. That's probably good. I'm going to go ahead and add in my stamp. This is the one I kind of use. I've got an oval and a circle that I use for hand building. Just going to kind of get some of that texture from the 3D printer out. And then, okay, hold on. I have to keep reminding myself of how I have to do this stuff. So I'm going to lay this over my tree stump, kind of just tack it down, pick it back up. And what it's done is it's given me the pattern. I don't know if you can see that because sometimes it's hard to see on VMix. And then I'm just going to roughly cut around the slip that was left. Another reason why this worked really well, because it being wonky, I don't have to be all that careful. Each mug will be its own art piece, own individual tree trunk. No two will be the same. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm there. I'm going to score this really well. Like, yeah, I don't have any problem filming. I could do this mug. Hope my physical therapist isn't going to watch. I'll get a lecture, I'm sure. I think he really actually enjoys lecturing me. Just going to go ahead and add some slip to the bottom here. And then we will kind of in your head mark where it was when you drew your pattern. Because I guess you didn't do that. I didn't do that. So, and it's loosely based. It's not like there. That fits better. Now, it actually sinks in. If you can tell, see, it's sitting on those 3 points as this foot. I did glaze the inside of this, but mainly because I was lazy. You don't have to. Because it's, I don't know if you can see, if I can show you. It is actually elevated on there. And I kind of like that look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch, I'm going to bring those edges together and pinch them. I'm going to go all the way around and do that. Makes a really great seal. And if you have extra clay, just cut it off. Because sometimes I've had a few that I've made that there was extra clay. I cut it too big. This one I didn't seem to, so that's good. And then I'm gonna take a sponge. I like it when the slip comes out. And then I'm going to come back in and smooth that down with my fingers, kind of work, make sure that's got a good seal. You could actually, if your clay was actually set up more, you could roll that with the pony roller. But I want a good seal there. It's looking like a tree trunk. Okay, so we're going to tip it over. And now we have to address that in there. And this is pretty easy. I just get it wet. And then I take my little finger brush or finger tool. And remember, I mean, I am actually working right here on putting this joint together, but it's already here. But looking in the mug, I don't want to see, I want to see a smooth edge. You might end up like it looking like it's cracked otherwise. So I'm just pushing all that together, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. Just getting it in there. And there is some cleanup in there. So I kind of got a double ring, and then I'm going to take another brush, one that's a little stiffer than, and I'm really going to work that. But I'm keeping my finger out here because I also don't want to push it and open up that seam. You know what I mean? You could add a coil if you want to. You don't need to, but you could. And I kind of go back and forth between the brush and that tool, because you really can't get your fingers in here. And I do kind of take the brush, because you know your tree stump's wider down here usually in nature than it's going to be up here. So I will take the brush and kind of, I don't know if you can see me doing that, kind of open up that edge just a little bit, the wall, make it a little bit fatter down there. This is the part that you spend the most time on, probably, because you want to, with your coffee, your tea, whatever you're drinking out of this, you want to clean inside. You want it to be all smooth, easy to clean. You know, nothing that looks like it's who's gonna get stuck, or, I mean, that's just part of the cleanup. And also when I'm done, this is also the thing that I will double check, but we're all pretty clean. And I will double check it as it sets up more. Next thing I'm gonna do is address the rim. I'm gonna keep my hand outside like this, just underneath the rim, and take my sponge and kind of push it up against my finger here. And what that's going to do is when you're drinking out of a cup, I'll show you this one. See how that lip is just out a little bit? It makes it so much easier, much more enjoyable to drink out of, because the ingredients that are inside the cup just flow easier. And I don't want to, you could exaggerate it. You could do a whole bunch of things. In fact, I do want to come, oops, gotta cut my nails. Just nail it. Where the roots are, I have been kind of distorting this and pushing this out a little bit. Just kind of giving it more something. And just make sure anytime you distort that you don't open up anything down there. All right, so the mat is done. So now we need to work on the mushroom, which is the handle. But I'm going to put you on hold for a second, turn my AC back on because I am sweating. All right, took a little break, cooled off, and cooled it off in here for a little bit. So what I'm doing right now is kind of doing a carrot. And this is going to be our mushroom handle. And I've got way too much clay here, so let's go ahead and get rid of some of this. I'm also going to show you a trick on how to make a handle look like it's pulled. But this one is not. It's going to be a coil or carrot. I'm trying to keep it from going square. And I'm also trying to thin it out a bit. So this is going to be, of course, the top. So if you're looking at it, we are thicker down here. And I'm trying to keep in mind how a mushroom in nature is going to look. I'm going to take my sponge. And this is what I mean about, you can make a coil handle look like a pulled one by doing what I'm doing. taking, if you can see, I'm actually stretching it with that sponge. It doesn't really matter which direction you go. I just want it smooth. And it gives it a very nice feel to your hand. Of course, this is a mushroom, so it can be as wonky as you want it to be. I know that I have it way too long for my mug. I'm just going to, actually, don't do that. I just nailed it. So basically what I'm going to do, even though it's upside down, I'm just going to give myself an idea of how big this needs to be. So take that off. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to sculpt it, flatten it out, make it look like it's going to be a mushroom. I'm actually pressing it against the table because that's where it's going to be put on the mug. Mushrooms are, depending on the mushroom variety, are quite smooth on their, I wonder what you, I guess it would be the stem. Probably has its own name. But I also want it to make it look like it's growing on that tree trunk. So kind of gave it a little bit of form, I guess. But so I'm going to go ahead and let it sit up right there while I make the mushroom top. I'm going to take some of the clay that originally rolled out. And I'm going to just smooth the texture out. Because mushroom tops tend to be pretty smooth. I love mushrooms. I love eating mushrooms. When I was in Alaska, we would forage for mushrooms. You do have to know what you're doing though, because mushrooms can also kill you if you eat the wrong one. So these are a set of cookie cutters. I can link those. You can get these pretty much anywhere. I am going with this one, which is, got my ruler. This is the 2.5 inch one, and it is going to be the top of our, but I'm going to go and cut out this one, which is the small one, and it's probably 1.5 inches, if that was 2.5. Nope, this is 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. I actually might cut out, these are going to be for the little mushrooms growing on the side. All right, so if you want to take this, actually, if you take a wooden egg in the palm of your hand, because we want to get that mushroom shape. So I don't want to split that. This is actually pretty thin because we've rolled it out and it had the wood texture in it. Then I smoothed the texture out, so it's under 1/4 inch. So now I'm going to just take my sponge and smooth out the rim of that mushroom, just to make it nice. And then we'll put the, I think they're called gills. We'll put the gills in. And that you can do with really any kind of tool. I've done it with wooden tools. I have done it with a needle tool, and these ones were done with the needle tool. And the glaze did kind of fill them in, but you can still kind of see them. So I guess it just comes down to being how pronounced you want them. So I'm just going to try this wooden tool. And at first I am going to segment it just so I don't get off. And I'm just going to just keep segmenting it. And then when I get it like this, I'm just going to draw them in, and I don't necessarily need them to be completely straight because they don't always grow completely straight. I like them kind of organic looking, so that they were created by nature. You don't have to the more organic they are, I think the better they look. So then I will come back and just, if you have a lot of goobers, just leave them. When it dries, they just knock off. But I will smooth, if I bit into the edge there, I will smooth that off. I'm going to go ahead and just score it a little bit where I'm going to attach the handle. And then score this. We'll go ahead and add a little bit of slip in there. And then I'm just going to take it and push against and wiggle against the counter here. And then I'm just going to smooth out the slip that came out. And that is your mushroom handle. You can make it as long. This might be a little short. Maybe not. And then let's go ahead and attach it to our mug. Let me bring the mug over here. And you just basically need to attach. What's really cool is you cannot see where the seam was. So looks like I have a little bit of a line here, and that is actually from the vinyl where I got a straight line. I don't want a straight line, so I'm just going to smooth this out. And then I'm just going to come in and draw some wood grain, kind of hide that. And then now, this handle I just did, but because I didn't pull it, and I didn't get it real wet, it's still pretty good. It's not like too floppy. So now it's just a matter of where I'm going to want to put this. I want to put it on one of the feet. So it's just a matter of where I like it. I think I like it there. So I'm just going to, since I already scored that, and this is the one time you'll see me put a handle up above the rim. I don't normally do that. This is a decorative sculptural type mug. I prefer my handles to be below in case somebody wants to put the mug upside down. And I am going to, the mushroom itself is actually super soft, but I'm going to come all the way down. Add some slip. And then we will go ahead and just going to set that there. I'm more concerned about mushroom attaching right, and I'm going to push it to where it attaches. And then you can shape this mushroom however you want. I do suggest you don't have it like up real sharp in case somebody does knock it. I'm always thinking of that. So when you're making functional pottery, okay, that's not going to work. Let's see, maybe if I hold it with the brush, I can't get my arm out to push against. So if I put a brush in here, kind of have to keep my arm next to my side. So let's do it this way. And then I can clean up that inside. Yeah, really clean that up inside because I nailed it. There we go. And then I will clean up, I want the other brush. 2 minutes slip on my brushes. So I'll clean up the joint here and on the side. Make sure that's nice and smooth and there's no slip. The slip is what's going to crack on you because it's going to dry faster than the mug. So you want to get all of that extra out. All right, and then I got a pretty good joint here at the bottom. I'm going to carefully pick this up though and clean this up. And I like that it's not like a straight line. I want it to kind of be growing out of my tree trunk. So I will smooth that in. There we go. Now I do have this little bit here. Let me grab. I do this pretty much on all my handles. Let me show you. Where it connects. This is also a place that you'll get cracking. So I will roll out a little coil, flatten one side of it, and I'll dip it in water. And then I just stick it in there. Take my favorite tool. And then push that in there and smooth it around. And like I've said in previous videos, I never have a handle crack off by doing this. You could even, well, I don't know if you could, depending on what kind of mushroom you do, you could have it going down too. You could have it growing out at the top. Mushrooms are cool. They grow in some of the weirdest shapes, conditions, areas. And I have a brush hair there. Okay, so there is our mushroom. That's looking pretty good. So now it's just, if you want to add these on the side, you can. I'm going to show you how I did it. You can choose left or right, but I also don't want them to be too big, but I took that, I'm just kind of roughly making a moon shape. Actually, let's go ahead and take them both out of there, out of the one. So I did rough moon shape. Like I said, the more organic you can be, to me, the more natural it's going to look. I'm going to smooth that. And smooth this other side too. And then let's go ahead and, this one I'll go ahead and do the needle tool so you can see. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to segment it off. Give me some lines to go on. And then I'm just going to fill them in. I have my tool horizontal because it doesn't pull the clay and I don't get a lot of goobers. I'm not looking to cut the clay, I'm looking to press into the clay. So, and then just quickly, the more you overthink this, the worse it looks. The less you overthink it, the better it looks. Okay. And then now I'm going to form it into, I want it to sit on the mug. And I'm going to score this side, and you can cut into this pretty good with the scoring tool. I'm not going to score. I got a lot of texture there. I'm not going to score, but I am holding on the inside. Oops. Holding on to the inside and pushing, wiggling that on. Go ahead and grab that slip. Take a brush If I need more than the brush, then I take this tool and just kind of work it in where it's joint. And this is where, okay, pick it up. You won't have the problems picking it up that I'm having, but. And then I'm gonna just make sure it's joint. I mean, it's not a structural joint, it's just a decorative joint. I still want it to. And I will spend some time after I get it all on. I want it to look like it's growing right out of there. Do the same thing, and you can make these bigger, different sizes. You could use the bigger one if you wanted. I didn't want them sticking out too much because, you know, right now I've got this handle sticking out. So these are kind of in line with that. And if I get it sticking out too much, then it's going to get knocked. It's going to get broken. You know, it'll get damaged in the dishwasher by the mug that's sitting next to it, that kind of thing. So I'm always thinking of that. How it's going to be used, what kind of thing is going to come into contact with. I want my customers to be super happy with the structure of the mug, you know, and I want it to last because those are the customers that you keep. Get some of the slip off. And we are almost there. In fact, I think we are there. There's one thing I'm going to do. Okay, so after I get that, any tool marks cleaned up, I will come and look at it. I'm going to actually get this wet. Things are drying out. And then I'm going to just kind of give it some shape. I've actually even seen them go this way, which are kind of cool. There's a lot of these where I grew up. Any fallen stump had these type of mushrooms on them. They were all over the place, and they're massive. Everything in Alaska grows bigger. So yeah, let's see. I'll put it underneath plastic for maybe a day or two, and then let it dry, just to make sure everything's of the same consistency. And I think we have it, you guys. All right, I was kind of worried because when I've made these before, I had to take a few breaks and Tylenol. Let me grab this one that I don't have clay all over. All right, how did I glaze it? Move this out of the way. I'm a huge fan of this root beer from Coyote. And it's a Celadon, it's one of the Frank Celadon lines. The inside, and I have this in dippable, and I never buy the brushable because you can brush with the dippable and you only have to do one coat and you can get some really cool results. So let's see if I can get it to where you can see it's super shiny. So I poured glaze into the inside, dumped it out. All right, then I went, this is birch. Now this is a speckled clay, so I get specks. Birch by Mayco. This is Ruby Slippers by Stroke and Coat. The dots, I love the dots because you can feel them, is Designer Liner by Mayco, the white designer liner. It's really cool and I put it on after the Ruby Slippers. This is also birch, but I took some of the crystals out of Winter Woods and just placed some of the crystals on. Underneath, I did Pearl White by Spectrum. And underneath this one, I did soft red. I actually really, really like how I don't know if it's picking it up. Let's see. I don't think the light's right in here. It's getting to that afternoon where the sun's getting to be. Anyway, you get this blush, and I really like the blush. So I think I'm going to, I did Pearl White on on all of these. And so I think I'm going to do the soft white under that one on these other mugs. Then I took a brush and I did one coat of the root beer. And what's really cool about the root beer when you brush it on, if you do an inconsistent coat, you get glossy and semi-gloss parts. And to me, that looks more like wood texture because it's not as even as it is on the inside. I'm not sure where to put it to where you can, I mean, that's a solid, nice coat. And this is more of a rough and ready coat. But it looks like wood, you know? It's my go-to for wood. It's actually such a gorgeous amber, rich brown. And I'm not a fan of brown, obviously. Looked at my hair lately. I am not a brown fan. But a tree stump kind of needs some browns. But the root beer gives you so much variation that it's up there as one of my favorite glazes. Top 10, I should do a top 10. But that's a staple, that's why I buy it in a dippable. So, all right, I am sweating. I'm gonna go in and put some ice on my shoulder and hopefully I get to come out here again tonight, we'll see. So anyway, great spending time with you. Great to be back in here. Great to be doing another video. And it's been so amazing to make something. Finally, we're on the downhill side of this. So I am excited for seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to get over this and then just watch out, right? Watch out. You guys have been with me for a while. You see what I've been able to do with all these injuries. Just you wait. I'll be unstoppable. It's kind of my personality. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. Go get muddy. And I hope you give this a try. Like and subscribe if you haven't. I am still sitting at 50% of you are watching, but not subscribing. And so think about subscribing. I am very much an eclectic potter. I do different things all the time. So, because I'm an eclectic person and I like doing different things. So, go get muddy. I'll stop rambling and we will see you next week.